Hello, today we're going to start our new unit, which is going to be on angles and polygons. Today we're going to learn about complementary angles and what adjacent angles are and what non-adjacent angles are. So adjacent angles are angles that share a common vertex. So a vertex is the point right here where the two angles meet. So this is called a vertex. And so adjacent angles share a common vertex, and they also share a common side. So you can see here, they share this side, this A to B, they share that common side. So these two angles are adjacent angles. So adjacent means the two angles are next to each other. They share a common vertex or point, and they share a common side. Non-adjacent angles are angles that are not next to each other. They're angles that don't share a common side. So in this example over here, we have two angles, but they are not next to each other. They don't share a common side, and they don't share a common vertex or a point where they meet. So these are non-adjacent angles. All right, so what we're going to learn are what are complementary angles.
This is an L square used to measure right angles, which are 90 degrees. 90-degree corners are found everywhere in buildings, against walls, in doorways, on the floor. Sometimes in the real world, two angles join together to form a right angle. Other times, two angles join together to form a straight angle. These two angles together form a right angle. We call them complementary because when you add them, they equal 90 degrees. A corner is a 90-degree angle, and a corner is complementary, C for C. The word complementary has one P in it. If I take that P and turn it around, it looks like a 9. Put a 0 on it and it's 90. Complementary is 90 degrees.
So complementary angles are two angles that add together to make a right angle or a 90-degree angle. So we know a 90-degree angle has this perfect edge here, which is just like what you see on a square or a rectangle or in a doorway or at the edge of your desk. Those are all 90-degree angles. So we can see if these two are 90-degree angles, but we can add them together. So 30 plus 60 gives me 90. So this is 90 degrees. So these two are adjacent complementary angles. In our next example, we have two non-adjacent angles. They're non-adjacent because they don't share a common side or a common vertex. So we have to see if they're complementary. This angle here is 40, and the other angle is 50. So 40 plus 50 gives me 90, or 90 degrees, and this means that these two are non-adjacent complementary angles. So how do I find the missing side of complementary angles? So these two angles here I see make a right angle because it has that little box in the corner, so that tells me that this is a 90-degree angle, the big angle. So I know that this angle, 63 degrees, plus this angle, B, added together will give us 90 degrees. So how do I find out what B is? Well, I know that B plus 63 will equal 90. So now I can solve for B. So how do I solve for B? Well, this is B plus 63, and I want to get B by itself, so I have to do minus 63 to get rid of that 63 on that side. And I'm going to do the same thing to the other side to keep my equation balanced and equal. So then that leaves me with B on the left side of my equation, and 90 minus 63 is 27. So B, angle B, equals 27 degrees. All right, let's try this next example. I have X, and I have 62 degrees. And I see that these are in this big angle that makes a 90-degree angle because I have this box here that shows me it's a 90-degree angle. So I know that X plus 62 will give me 90. So X plus 62 will equal 90 degrees. So now I got to solve for X. So how do I do that? I would do minus 62 to get rid of that 62 on this side and leave me with just X. And whatever I do to one side, I have to do to the other side to keep it equal. So 90 minus 62 will give me 28. So x is going to equal 28 degrees. All right, this question was a released SOL question from a couple years ago, and it says, which two angles are complementary? So complementary means that they make 90 degrees. The way I remember that is C. Complementary starts with C, and C also, in other words, C word is corner. And I know the corner of anything equals 90 degrees. So what I can do is add these angles together and see which ones are complementary. So let's see, angle M and angle Q. Angle M is 71 degrees, so 71 degrees. Angle Q is also 71 degrees. So 71 plus 71 gives me 142. So that does not equal 90, so that's not complementary. So I can cross that one off. So let's try the next one. N is 109 degrees. P is 19 degrees. So 109 plus 19, I know that's going to be way bigger than 90. So that can't be a complementary angle. So P is 19. Q is 71. 19 plus 71 does equal 90. So these two equal 90 degrees. So this is probably my answer. Let's try one more to make sure. M is 71 degrees. N is 109 degrees. 71 plus 109 is going to give me a much bigger than 90. That's actually going to give me 180 degrees. So I know that's too big to be complementary. So my answer choice would have to be C. This is my answer. Because 19 plus 71 equals 90. Complementary angles add together to make 90 degrees.
Claude the sad clown has been doing his best to make kids happy at the Smiling Circus. Unfortunately, he hasn't had much luck. A new funhouse is scheduled to be built at the Smiling Circus, and all the clowns, Boo Boo, Dimples, Twinkle Toes, and Dr. Gigglestein, thought it might cheer Claude if they allowed him to build it. Plus, that way he won't depress the rest of the visitors. While building one of the windows for the funhouse, Claude finds that the window needs a diagonal brace to support it. If the corner of the window is at a right angle and the brace is at a 50-degree angle from the bottom, how many degrees from the side is the brace? Alright, so let's think this through. First things first, let's label our angles. The corner of the window is a right angle, so let's indicate that with a box in the corner. It's also good to keep in mind that right angles are 90 degrees in measure. The only other angle we know is from the bottom to the brace, which is 50 degrees. We want to find the measure of the other angle. Since we don't know it yet, let's call it x. How clever. To solve this, we can use the idea of complementary angles. Oh, lovely. Oh, lovely. You look lovely. You look lovely. Oh, you do. Oh, you do. Or two angles whose measures add up to 90 degrees. Since x and the 50-degree angle add up to 90 degrees, we can find x by solving the equation x plus 50 equals 90. Subtracting 50 from both sides gives us a value of 40 degrees for x. Feeling a little less sad, Claude goes on to figure out all the angles in his funhouse, and building it has made him much happier. He still has the occasional relapse, but he's cut down his sobbing sessions to only about once a week. Poor Claude.
Alright, so that's complementary angles. Remember, complementary angles are just two angles, any two angles, that add up to make 90 degrees. They can be adjacent angles, which means that they are next to each other, like in this example, or they can be non-adjacent angles, like this example, where they are not next to each other. It doesn't matter as long as the two angles add up to 90 degrees. If they add up to 90 degrees, that means that they are complementary angles. Remember, complementary angles make a corner, and a corner of a desk or a door or anything else is 90 degrees. Corner starts with C, complementary starts with C. So if it makes a corner, which is 90 degrees, the angles are complementary. If you have any questions, please ask a teacher. Goodbye.